Okay, so this video is going to quickly talk about kind of what we did in class on Wednesday and Thursday of this week, reviewing for our quiz on sections 5.3 through 5.5, which is all about the different kinds of parallelograms. So as you can see here, there'll be this video linked. It'll be the exact same video tomorrow, but we're going to be doing some activities in class. So what's going to be really important here is that if you're at home, you're still finding some way to review these things. Something to keep in mind here is that for everybody that's in class, we are spending 45 or 50 minutes each day reviewing for this quiz. So if you're at home, you still need to find a way to spend 45 or 50 minutes reviewing for this quiz. It is going to take that much effort to prepare yourself for this quiz. That's why we're spending this time in class. So today, the first day, Wednesday, what we're going to be doing is we'll take a look at the homework. If you had any questions, we'll take a look at those answers. They were posted up on the Canvas page as well. Those always true, sometimes true, never true. One thing you'll notice is that none of them are never true. If you're talking about things like is something true about a parallelogram? Well, remember, a square is a type of parallelogram. So it's going to be true in a square no matter what. So things like here, a rhombus is a square. Well, some rhombuses sure are not squares, but some of them are. And so it is sometimes true. Going the other way, something like a square is a rectangle. Well, every square is a rectangle because a square is just a special kind of rectangle. Using our mammal human analogy here, asking the question, is a mammal a human? Well, some of them sure are. You are. So that would be sometimes true. Your dog's not, though. So it's not always true. This one would be asking the question, is a human a mammal? Well, yes, all of the humans are mammals. So it's always true. So be careful with those. They're a little tricky sometimes. So next up, we've got finding missing angles. You've got a rectangle, a parallelogram, and a square. Again, these are kind of the biggest chunk of questions that are going to be on quizzes and tests is can you take this and find the missing information? And then this last one, to make sure that a room is rectangular, the builders check the diagonals of the room. Explain what they check for. Well, in order for it to be a rectangle, I say rectangle like that, the diagonals have to be equal. And so if you want to make sure that your room or wall or whatever you're building as a carpenter is a rectangle instead of just some other random parallelogram that isn't a rectangle, you'd measure the diagonals. If they're equal, then it's a rectangle. Okay, next up, we were going to do this warm up here. This one kind of reviewing some stuff from earlier on, this one about the rectangles. From this one, you've got things like a pentagon here. So you can use your formula n minus 2 times 180 to find that. Your total is 540, divide by 5, you get 108 for each one of these. Then from there, you're using things like linear pairs to find those two angles. You've got an isosceles triangle that can find the fact that those two are the same, using your triangle sum conjecture for there, and keep going from all of those. With this rectangle, the biggest thing is that all of these angles in the corners are 90. So if I know that these two angles add up to 90 degrees, then I know that this one has to be 65. Same thing with Z has to be 65. Then I can use my triangle sum conjecture and linear pairs and things like that to find X and Y. So other things we have to do or we're going to do in this class today, I wanted to go through and make sure everybody's blue packet is up to date. If you don't have a blue packet at home, make sure that you have a list of these conjectures that you have to study from. Like I said, today and tomorrow, Wednesday and Thursday, I would expect somewhere around an hour and a half worth of studying between those 2 days to get ready for this quiz. If you're not spending that kind of time, chances are you're not going to be ready for it. That's why we're spending that much time in class. These flip books that we're going to do are linked on the Canvas page. If you take a look right here, that's what this quadrilateral flip book is. Go ahead and download it. If you want to try to make it, it is a PDF document that you would have to print out. And there's directions on here. It is quite the ordeal. But whether or not you make it into a flip book or not, if you were to start here and make sure you know all of these things. What are the properties of kites? Mark them into the picture. Here you've got some definitions that you need to make sure you know. And then it just goes on to, there's parallelograms, there's trapezoids, there's rhombuses, parallelograms, squares. Go through all of those. Make sure that for each of these shapes, you know all the properties, mark them into the picture, and use that as a tool to study. If you don't want to make it into a flip book, don't worry about it. But you can kind of see what it looks like when it is a flip book. It gives you a nice little resource to help you study from. Very, very nice to have in there. Other than that, that's pretty much what we're spending our time on today, is just reviewing all of those conjectures that are in our blue packet from the last few days. This goes all the way back to 5.3. So you should be reviewing all the properties you know about kites. There's the definition and 4 properties about kites. You should be reviewing things you know about trapezoids. There's 1 property for all trapezoids. Isosceles trapezoids have 2 properties. Parallelograms have 4 that you need to know. Rectangles have 1 more. Rhombuses have 2 more. And squares don't have any more, but they're all true about squares. So it'd be a good idea to make sure you have all of those up to date in your blue packet or wherever you're keeping your list. And like I said, we're going to be spending the rest of the time there on that flip book and working through that. So let me know if you have questions. And that's kind of what's going on today. The next day, I guess, what we're going to be doing is some review, like a worksheet. The first thing we're going to do in class is work on this quadrilateral Venn diagram, just like the last thing that is listed right here, quadrilateral Venn diagram. I think it's helpful to see it in this form too, because in this form, it really tries to focus in on this fact that rectangles are parallelograms. That's why this rectangle symbol is completely inside of the parallelograms. Isosceles trapezoids are trapezoids. All of these things are quadrilaterals. So we have all of that stuff, kind of that relationship going on. And then we'll have this last review here. Again, the review is linked on the Canvas page. It is right there. That would be a great study tool for the quiz that's coming up on Friday. If you are staying home and you're choosing to work along with us, then let me know once you've got those things done on Wednesday and Thursday, and we'll be ready to take that test on Friday. So let me know if you have questions, and I will see you later.